Hello, I'm Pamela Davis Brown. Welcome to episode 239 of the Well Done Life podcast. And hello, welcome back to episode 239 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis Brown. If you are new here, hey, how are you? Welcome. I am so glad that you are here with us this week. I hope that you will stay for a very long time and bring lots of friends. And if you are part of the crew already, you guys know the deal. I love you deep. Thank you so much for continuing to rock with me. I wouldn't be able to be at this point without you. So, of course, I want you to continue to stay. I need you to continue to bring people and just continue to show up and be amazing as a part of this community. Before we dive in, it's really important to me to do a little housekeeping, set up some foundational things, because I feel like what we're doing here is creating a safe space. And when you're creating a safe space, it's kind of like you're building a house. So I like to make sure that our foundation is built on two very important things, and that's clarity and love. Clarity is really straightforward. I just want to make sure that you understand that I created the Well Done Life brand because I believe in the power of women. I believe in the power of sharing our stories in order for us to create space where we can learn and grow from each other. This is all about the good and the bad being spotlighted. I mean, my journey is not perfect, but I hope that in me being honest about my journey, that you will see that, you know what, if she can make it, so can I, because that's really what it's about. If I can make it, you can make it too. And then at the same time, you don't have to make the same mistakes that I made. There are different ways that you can go about things. I think that sometimes we silo ourselves so much that we stunt our growth, but we also stunt the growth of other people. So it's an opportunity for us in this space to be able to, like I said, be poured into and to pour back. And I also not just share my story, but I also do spotlight other women as well, because I want you to hear their stories. Because again, it's all about us coming together to realize that there are more similarities than differences that we have out here. So hopefully in this space, like I said, you will feel seen, you will feel inspired, you will feel motivated, you will feel loved. That's really the goal of what I want to do here. And then my other foundation really kind of goes right in line with that. It's about love. Everything that we do in this space is going to be rooted in love. And so one of the things that I do is I like to share prayers with you every week. And for a while, I've been standing on a couple of foundational points. And so we're going to just continue to stand there because it's now more than ever. I feel like they're important. I really, my first prayer with you is always going to be about a prayer of peace. I think it's very important for the world. In a world where, it's so noisy sometimes, you take a moment to breathe. You take a moment just for yourself, a moment to regulate your body, to regulate your mind. And I don't care what it looks like. It can be standing still. It could be sitting in your car by yourself. It is whatever you need in that particular moment in time to allow yourself a moment of peace, a moment to regulate, a moment to dial back into who you are, because the world is going to stay noisy, but you have to stay centered. And the reason that you have to stay centered is because it's very important for you to have clarity. And when you have clarity, which is my second foundational point, my second prayer for you, it allows you to be able to move through things a little bit clearer. I don't want you to be caught up in a cycle where you're not able to see the path in front of you. Sometimes it's going to be murky, but you need to see what's coming so that you'll know how to move, so that you'll know how to protect your energy, so that you know how to give yourself the grace that's going to be necessary to make decisions sometimes that are going to feel uncomfortable or that are going to put you in places and spaces where you have to maybe trust, where you have to rely on your faith a little bit stronger. I just think that it's very important to keep clarity or discernment, as I also like to think about it, as a center point in our prayer life as we're going forward and navigating in this world. And then, of course, my other one is I always want you to be surrounded in love. I want you to have good reciprocal love too. And I'm talking about love that feels good from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, love that pours into you the way that you pour back into it. It's all about reciprocity in this time of our lives because, again, like I said, the world is going to do what the world is going to do, but you need to have reciprocal love. You need to be reciprocal. A good reciprocal foundation is going to help you not just in a relational standpoint, but it's also going to help you in a community standpoint. And community is essential. Community is what's going to save us. It's not, no one else is going to save us but us. And so we need to make sure that we are pouring into each other, that we are inspiring each other, that we are supporting each other in the best way possible so that we can be the lights that we were called to be in this world. And then rounding out my prayers, I'm always going to stand on abundance. And I'm going to stand on it not just from a financial stance. Of course, I want you to be abundant in your finances. I want you to be abundant so that you could be a blessing to yourself and to other people. But I also want you to be abundant in your spirit. I want you to be able to value the small things, value the moments of peace, value the moments of love, value the moments of community that don't necessarily equate into large material things. Small things matter. Small moments matter. Those moments, those memories, those are the things that resonate in our soul long term that will sustain us when tough times come. Always find time for joy. Always find time for the things that give you peace, that give you pleasure. Even if, like I said, it's from a sip of coffee to just standing in the sun and just letting it hit on your skin and just breathing in deeply and allowing a wave of happiness to wash over you. Find joy in those things because those things are going to be much more sustaining than anything material. So those are my prayers for you this week, my pillar points. Those are always going to be the points that I stand on. I feel like the way that things kind of are shaping out there, we can't afford not to stand on it. We need to stand on that. We need to keep peace and abundance and clarity and community and love as pillar points in our heart at all times. Because again, like I said, we are what we have been waiting for. And God gave us the giftings to be out here to help ourselves as well as each other. And it's time to tap in. So I am actually recording on Saturday, November the 8th at 6:17 a.m. Yes, I know it's super early for me, but I wanted to make sure that I got it in today because it's going to be a busy weekend. And I'm so excited about the episode that I'm going to share, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. I want to thank everyone for their support of last week's episode. It's time to tend to your own garden. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it, I'm going to drop it in the show notes, but I really do feel like this is a time for us to tend to our own garden. It's time to make sure that we are nurturing ourselves, that we are protecting ourselves, that we are guarding our hearts and our minds, that we are being true to ourselves. There's so much to talk about, so much to say, and a lot of times, sometimes the fodder is just that, fodder. Again, is it going to be about adding value? When is it going to be about making sure that we are supporting each other in the best possible ways? And sometimes you have to pour into you before you start to pour into other people. And a lot of times when I see commentary online, I notice that sometimes in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, some of these people could take a moment for themselves. Obviously, you can tell because some of their feelings, some of the projection that they're doing, it is very not constructive. I'm going to say that to the subject at hand, but that's a whole nother thing because again, like I said, it's time to tend to your own garden. It's time to focus on you. You are the most important gift that you will ever be given. Take care of it. Value you, trust in you, and take care of you. But this week, I'm back and I have a wonderful conversation. This conversation, I feel like, I think it's definitely been over a year since we initially talked, but we're now here again, having a conversation, new phases of life. And I'm very excited to welcome a wonderful person to the podcast that you guys may know. I'd like to welcome back to our episode, Kennisha Thornton. She is the founder of Create and Blossom, a visionary mother of 7, and now the author of a beautiful new devotional called Grace and Grit, 10 Days of Faith and Fearless Confidence for Mompreneurs on the Move. And so after our first conversation, I felt really full about being able to have the power of telling my story and how you have been able to leverage your gift to be able to have other people tell their stories. And so I'm really excited to kind of dive in a little deeper today into your new book and talk about the lessons that shaped it, the gentle reminders you offer to women, and let's try to build something beautiful and nurturing together. So, Kennisha,
The first time we spoke, you shared so beautifully, like I said, about your journey and entrepreneurship and during a vulnerable time, especially when you were on bed rest with your first child. When you look back at that moment now, how did that season shape you and your faith to where you are right now?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, first of all, Pamela, for having me here. I was just so excited about the opportunity to speak with you. We had such a wonderful conversation before, and being connected with you has just been just truly a blessing. You have such a sweet spirit. So thank you for having me back. So yes, oh wow. So life changed very much so after when I was pregnant with my oldest. And I just I was in a place, I was working in higher education. I wasn't very sure what I was going to do next with my life. And I remember sitting at home, kind of, you know, how you're sitting there kind of twirling your thumbs together, like, okay, what am I supposed to do here, you know, with my life? And I can maybe go back to completing my degree. I didn't have any kids at home right then at that time. So there's only so much I could do around my place. It was just me there all day on my own, and I just wasn't sure what to do. So that's when I really began to pray and seek God about those next steps for me. And He reminded me of my love for writing and storytelling. And then, hey, maybe now this is a good time. You're forced to be still in a way. So now maybe you can tap into, you know, this phase of your life. What I didn't know is that that was going to open up a door that I never imagined would just be a pathway to something else so special, and a journey that has been life changing, you know, pretty much for me. What I also didn't know was what that entire road was going to look like, you know, as being a brand new mother, and then still wanting to be creative or tap into my creativity and do something else, you know, out there. I just had no idea what that was going to look like. And all I could do was sit back and just trust God with it. And so I did. It was kind of like walking right into the unknown. I think I've never really been afraid of the unknown so much, but I definitely wasn't sure what the whole thing was going to look like. I just knew I still wanted to do something, and I knew that I was really excited, of course, about being a new mom.
Well, I'm really glad that you took that chance on yourself. You believed in you. And that kind of like leads like right into my next question, because obviously, like I said, you have a new book, the Grace and Grit. It feels like you are like not just a phase, like this is a declaration of who you are and where you're going and how we all can kind of use that within ourselves to move forward. How do you define grace and grit in this season of your life right now? And how have those two qualities evolved as you walk in your faith journey, as your mom journey?
Yes, wow, it's just such a great question, because you're right. It has truly evolved a lot over the years. Um, I think grace for me back then was not being too hard on myself. I think especially when my kids were really little. So just thinking of that, I remember so many times I struggled so much with, I have to do this, I have to do that, trying to be the perfect mom, or maybe trying to fit into a particular mom group and mom category. You know, over the years now, my oldest is 18 now, I have seen so many types of mom groups out there, right? We seem to separate ourselves, which seem to be, and what I've seen, a lot of judgmental, you know, behaviors and responses to moms who choose to stay home versus the mom that's working full time versus the mom that has to work overnight versus the mom that, and honestly, I have done all of those things. I've been the mom at home. I've been the mom that had to work full time, babies in daycare. I've been the mom that had to breastfeed, and the mom that had to give my baby formula. I've been the mom that, you know, had to figure it all out, try to figure it out on your own, you know, without help. And so I had to give myself grace. And I would also encourage like my sister and my other mom friends in my community, you know, with the same, we can only do so much. We deserve to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves so that we can be our best for our children, and not be so hard on ourselves about everything. It's not going to be perfect. We're going to make a mess. We won't always get it right, you know?
I know. And I think people just don't sometimes understand it. It's like I feel like people miss the fact that surrender and strength are really real components of each other. But I feel like a lot of us are in this season now where we're trying to learn to live in it.
Yeah.
Because life's just moving so fast. You have to.
It is. Yes. And so in thinking about now, like back then, it was more like, hey, the grace to figure it out because I was still learning. And I had to remind myself, I'm still learning. You don't know it all. I mean, you can maybe take some little nuggets from what you learned from what my mom did and from what other moms and women mentors in my life did and how they poured out to me and loved me. But I also had to remember that I'm me. So I'm going to love and raise and grow my kids the way I can, the way God made for me to do it. And it's not going to look like you or the way anybody else does it. It's not going to look, no matter how much we try or admire other moms that do things certain ways, not going to be them. And our kids need us to be us for them.
Yes.
Right. So I had to be in that space of, hey, I have to give myself the grace to learn, right? As I'm in learning and training, especially as my kids are really little. And now I am in the grace of kind of being the mom that's pulling back a little bit and watching some of them fly, because now I have a college student. Right. And now it's like, listen, we done went through training. We done went through everything, son. You're on your own. Okay.
Right.
Listen, you know what to do. Mama done taught you, right? You know. So I have to let go, pull back, and watch them fly. I even have to do the same with my other, teenagers. I have 2 teenage girls, 16 and 14, who's about to be 15. And with them too, it's the same. Listen, I stand back and watch their movement, see what they do. And they always know I'm here. I'm here if you need me. And I, along with what I get to do as an author and with my company, Crane Blossom, I also am a teacher. So I'm an adjunct professor at a school here in Waco. And so I kind of think the same with my students. I'm teaching and I know they're going to apply, and I want them to be equipped to know so that they can do. And it's the same way that I do with my kids. I want them to. So now I give myself that grace. Kennisha, slow down, back up, let them do. Be here to support them and help guide, but let them make decisions and let them, I'm kind of in that space right now.
Which is funny because one of the chapters that I liked in your book is Grace Over Grind. Yes. And you share how God taught you that rest is sacred, not a reward. What did that shift look like for you personally? Because let's be real, you are a mom of 7. You have a business. You're an adjunct professor. Like, you just kind of laid out, like, you have a lot of things. How do you protect that sense of sacred rest now?
And let me tell you, that is something that I am still. that is probably, yes, that is one of my, and I even have to give myself grace even with that, because I know my body tells me, listen, girl, you need to slow down. You're doing a lot right now. You're overwhelmed. You're stressed. Find those moments where you need to rest. And so for me, it's really like those little, I try to find pockets of time where I do space in between my classes, space in between meetings. I have to intentionally carve out time to eat lunch and to take a lunch. And even if during that hour period, it's just for me, it's just for me. Either I'm going to sit here and listen to a podcast episode, or I'm going to sit here and listen to nothing. I just want silence. Sometimes it's just sitting back with my feet up. I may have something streaming on my TV and my plays, and it's on mute. I'm not even listening to it. It's something on in the background,
Yes, that's so me. Yes.
Or sometimes for me, it just looks like sitting at a restaurant on my own, by myself, just take myself to sit down and get something to eat. Or maybe I'm going to take myself to get a manicure and a pedicure, and I'm just going to, it's my little time. Believe me, I find it somewhere.
I love that. You have to, because one of the other things that you write is that rest isn't wasted. It's preparation for what's next. And so one of the things I would love if you could share is, can you share a time when God met you powerfully in a pause?
Oh, wow. This just happened. So I love that you asked me this question. So I had the opportunity, a beautiful opportunity to speak on a cruise ship. And I'm just coming back from that trip. This was just a couple of
weeks. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, it was the Tom Joyner Foundation Fantastic Voyage Cruise. They have it every single year.
Yes.
I was invited to speak this year as one of their seminar speakers, and I did it last year as well. But let me tell you, I this year has been such a busy, nonstop year, just a transitional year for me. So it's lots and lots and lots and lots of movement, lots of big decisions and things in my life. And I know that I was so stressed and overwhelmed beyond. Like it's been a long time since I was really feeling it, like physically starting to feel what the stress was doing in my life. So this cruise really came at just the most perfect timing for me where I just really needed it. And I remember sitting on the balcony in my cabin. And when I tell you, there were moments when it's like either at night when the sky is just lit with beautiful big stars, right? And it's just a beautiful, peaceful. I'm sitting on this thing by myself, overlooking the ocean, and I'm talking to the Lord. I'm just sitting in silence, just only the sound of the waves, right? Of the water. It's just beautiful, or in the daytime, where you can see everything just so beautifully out there, just like nothing but water right in front of you. And I would sit and I had those moments where here I am, right? I know this is a work trip. I know I have a date, where I'm going to be speaking, but and look, the cool thing is I didn't get to speak until later in the whole trip, right? So like day 6 of the day 7 cruise. So all the days leading up to it, I got to, I got to find rest, but it's what I needed is what my body needed, what my mind needed, what my spirit needed. And I'm telling you, I was forced to just sit down there like, well, this never happens, but here I am.
Right. But like you said, it's what you needed. Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, what do I do? But okay, here I am. I get to enjoy this moment. I get to rest. I get to breathe. I just get to close my eyes and breathe for just a minute. And it felt incredible. It felt incredible to not be needed to do something, and I needed that. That was definitely forced rest, but it was perfect.
And see, I love that because I always feel like sometimes everyone always gives slowing down and rest such a bad rap, like we've discussed kind of in a way, like, you're not moving. It's like the pressures of society. But sometimes we don't understand that even in the moment, that brief moment that you're getting, God is preparing you for your next assignment.
That's it. Yeah.
He's
always moving. He's always at work, even when we're still. So it's okay if we practice the pause, if we move, if we sit back. Oh, he's still, things are still unfolding. He doesn't sleep or slumber, right?
No.
We need to.
Right. Yes. He's got that. He's got unlimited energy, right? But
he's giving us Sabbath, right? He's giving us day 7. We need to. We're supposed to know that we're not like him. We need to rest. We need sleep, but he doesn't. And that's just the beauty of being able to trust in God is that we know that even in our times of rest, God is still constantly at work. So
absolutely. Okay. And I respect the fact that you have the boundaries for yourself to acknowledge that.
I always get it right, but I'm trying.
I agree. Boundaries are hard for all of us. That I hate to say it, it's not one of those things that we were encouraged to have a lot when we were younger. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like trying to catch up. It's hard. And the older we get, the harder it gets to catch up.
Exactly. It's true. Yeah. So hard.
But along that lines, one of the other sections is the power of yes and no. In that section, you talk about the importance of protecting your peace. And I think, like we were saying, many women struggle with that in just wanting to serve everyone without, feeling guilty or feeling depleted. How did you learn to say no without guilt, though?
Wow, that's a good one, because that was hard for me, because I think my heart always leans towards wanting to help somebody else. Mm-hmm. There were so many times, gosh, that I can remember stretching myself so thin, knowing that, I know I really realistically just don't have the time or the space or the capacity to do it. But this person really needs, me over here to do this one thing, or they really need me to do this over here. And I'm looking at my schedule, and I've always been the kind of person that's like, I'm going to try to figure out how to make it work anyway. Don't worry about it. We're going to make it work. I'll, in full transparency, share something with you. I recently stepped back from a position with a nonprofit organization that I work with. And I'm still going to help in a certain capacity, but I just couldn't be in this upper top leadership position in there any longer, just because there's so many other things that were happening in my life that kind of in a way taking the priority. And I had to, for me, for my kids. And, as I move forward, and it's just a great opportunity came across my desk, one that I needed. So that meant, listen, our cups are only so full, right? We can only do so much. I mean, there's 24 hours that we're working with, and some of those we need to find sleep and rest. We just do. We have to make that a priority for ourselves. So when we keep trying to fill in things that keep pulling at several of those hours, from our time that we need for ourselves, it's just thins us out and wears us thin, right? And it hurts us. And so I had to make a very big decision, just recently. And I was excited because I poured in a whole lot to the organization and really helped a ton. But I feel like that season for me is probably, run its course, and I'm still offering to help in a particular way, but I really need to shift my focus quite a bit over here. So I had to make some really big changes on that. Back then, oh gosh, back in the day, no, I think I was trying to get into any and everything possible. And it was just, and my mind was just kind of thinking in so many different areas, because as an entrepreneur and a business owner, that if you do this and do that, it's going to be beneficial for your company. It's going to be beneficial for you and the communities, all of those things, which is fine. But at some point, you have to realize you can't show up everywhere, and you can't do everything for everybody. You can't do everything for free. Okay.
Yes. Let's talk about that too. Yes.
You need to make money, right?
Right.
Business and organizations is also to make money. So I had to start thinking that way, and say, sorry, I can't do it at this time. Thank you. I'm always of whatever opportunity. The fact that anyone even thinks of me and can see either me doing a particular role or can see my value and my benefit, it's just a blessing to even be noticed, to be seen, and to be asked, So I appreciate that, however, at this time, I'm unable, right? And so I teach communication here. So sometimes I talk to the students about that. It's like, hey, there's a way that you can kindly decline. You can kindly say no, and it's okay. And right, maybe there's another time in the future, but thank you for thinking of me,
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
Do you feel like that ability that you have to look at how important it is for you to have balance in your life is giving yourself a sense of freedom?
Okay, could you repeat that for me? I'm sorry, it kind of froze just a little bit.
So sorry with the internet, God bless us. But I was going to say, do you feel like the way that you talk about balance, the way that it is such a priority for you, the way that you give yourself that grace and respect, do you feel like that's a way of actually being able to free yourself from the expectations and the comparisons that we tend to make?
Yes, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah, because it's one thing when you look at the lives, the things that people show us, especially social media, right? And look, there are a lot of people I look up to that are these prolific, incredible speakers and best-selling authors of all these books, and travel the world speaking in all of these things, like consistently, like their schedules are just so full, way more fuller than mine. And sometimes I'm like, I don't even know how when people ask me, but when I look at some of the things they're doing, at times I won't even like, there are times I still may say, well, I don't know if I'm doing enough. Wow, look at what they're doing. Look at where they are, right? But what we don't know, especially if we don't really know them, the sacrifices, right, that they are experiencing, their family dynamic, what their families are feeling, what their kids or grandkids might be feeling and experiencing with those jam-packed schedules, and really what they are dealing with internally about all of that. It's not even that they might not even be that happy or be that excited because it's pulling them away. They know that that time is precious and valuable too, right? So for me, I always just kind of encourage people to know, listen, stay right here in your own lane, yours right here. I have to be reminded, I have to remind myself of that. Stay in your lane, Kennisha. You have a calling. You have your own specific purpose and your own specific lane that God called you to walk in, uniquely designed for you to do. So you stay focused there and trust that God is going to look, any doors that need to be open, I've seen him do it. I've seen him do it for me. I've seen him do it for others. He's going to open whatever doors needed, necessary for me. That doesn't mean that we don't still be in pursuit at times of things. We know when we lean into the Holy Spirit and how God is leading us, we know when we need to be sending emails out and press kits out and stuff like that. We know what we need to do, right? So we just do accordingly. But don't be looking to the left or the right at what everybody else is doing and trying to, well, look at what they're doing and look at where they are. Maybe I need to be, stay right here, and that's every single time the Lord reels me right back in. Nope, stay right here. And you keep walking and you keep trusting me to do what I need you to do. Don't worry about what they're doing. They're doing what I'm telling them to do. You stay here, right? And yes, it's extremely freeing, especially when it's like a weight lifted off of your shoulders. I know that God is in control of my life. I'm not in control of my life. And I am look, it's a lot of freedom with that. It's not about me. It's what God does, right?
Yes. And I think that is like a perfect segue, because in one of the other sections of your book, Community Over Competition, you say that purpose flourishes in partnership. And so obviously, partnership sounds like it's a very integral part of how you have done business. Yes. What does that look like for you? Like now, still, even with all your continued growth in real life, especially I think among moms and women in business who sometimes feel, I think, isolated by where they are, because it's easy to stay in your lane and then you just trap yourself in the lane too.
Yes. It's very true, because then, and I understand that feeling, and I have been there, like, I don't really either have like nowhere to go, who to turn to, who can I trust, where am I? It's just me. And believe me, that was me for years, for a lot of years on my own. I'm grateful that over time I have had some mentors in my life. I know in the book I mentioned Trisha Goyer as being one of them. I mentioned there's another book that I recently launched too, and I know we're not talking about this one in particular, but it's called Launch to Legacy: Mastering Book Marketing and Media Exposure. And I released it about the same time as this devotional, but this one wasn't particularly for the trip. And so that one I also mentioned, there's a young lady named Deanna Hobbs. She has a ministry up in Buffalo, New York. And she was also very instrumental in helping me in the very beginning of my career. It was Trisha in the book and publishing space, and it was Deanna in the magazine and media publicity area. And so I just was a student under the both of them. And so I'll never forget that. And when I really look back, there was always someone, some kind of mentor, some kind of person that kind of brought me in, and not so much of well, I guess you could still say collaboration, yes, because with Trisha, we were able to connect. She introduced me to someone, and we wrote for the same online publication together, Mom Life Today. And then Deanna actually had me be one of the columnists in her magazine, Empowering Everyday Women magazine. And so I was working with the two of them, collaborated with them as a writer, very, very, very early, into my career. But what I would encourage others to do now is just really be open to whoever God would send on your path, but cautiously open, if that makes sense, because you can't trust everybody.
Talk about it. You can't. It's just, it'd be great, but you can't. Yeah.
You cannot. There are people, and I have also learned that it's like sharks out there, and people often equate, the people that are trying to take from you and hurt you as sharks. But believe me, there are other people that are out there to try to sabotage, to try to create other issues, or just to try to get from you, not pour into you. I really believe that the Lord will show you who is meant to really collaborate and work beside you to do good. And then there are people that might be, that come along your path to just pour into, support you, be there for you. There are some leaders right here in the city of Waco that I do less collaborating with, but more check-ins, just as a person that cares about me and my career path. hey, let's just meet up and have lunch and talk about what's going on in our lives, because that kind of community is also very important. And these are people and relationships, that you can nurture and cultivate. That could be something really special. Just that support system is just rare. And I also know what it feels like to not have the support, that you feel you need today. I'm just really grateful. I'm always surprised anytime someone connects with me somehow, either at an event or they've come to see me speak or something, and they're like, "Oh, I just want to be like an intern with your company. Like I'll have that, I just want to sit underneath you and learn. Or I just want to, I'm in that space." Or they want to, me to help them, which I love because I'm just a teacher at heart. But yeah, I had a great lunch recently with someone with the nonprofit organization here in town, a really big one that wants to collaborate as well to do something special. So those things will come. I think that's probably one of my best words of encouragement is to be still, but trust that they're out there. People will be to collaborate with you.
Oh boy. I'm just, I love that you flourish, it seems, like you said, with partnerships when you're outside. And I really appreciate how you guys have been able to, how you have been able to like move forward as groups. Like just like you said, you've built a community for all of
Yeah.
the women that you work with. But I know one other section of the book that was really powerful was talking about, building your legacy at home
Yes.
and making sure that you keep home first and impressing on your children that, faith through how you live, not just what you say. And how are you weaving all of this into your life, into your family's everyday life? Because this is who you are as a person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if anybody knows it and knows the truth, is my babies. They all know. They know, they are fully aware. I don't hold back whatsoever. I believe in open communication with my kids, especially my teens, my oldest, all the way through my 12-year-old, and even my younger ones. They get excited when they see mommy either on a book cover or they see books with my name on it. Mommy, you wrote this book, wow, look at mommy, look at your name. I've been to schools to do readings and just all the things. So I try to keep them involved in what I do. And my oldest do remember when they were younger, and I had my publishing company. They were, when I was creating books, even back then, they remember being on the floor in my office, coloring and stuff like that as I was doing it, or being at events, if I had to speak publicly and they would come to, I would have them be there. If I didn't have a babysitter, they had to be with me. But my kids are it's my why, just point blank and simple, besides the fact that on my heart, it is really, I've always just wanted to do what the Lord created me to do. That's always been my top goal, my top prayer since coming to Christ was that very thing. Lord, here I am. Send me, just like it says in the word. I'll do what you need me to do, where you want me to go, touch whatever life you want me to touch. I'm here. And I have always prayed that, meant that with all of my heart. And so along with that, since having children, it certainly has been, now how can I be an example to my kids so that I can encourage them in the same? I once had, I may have mentioned the story in the book, but there was a lady one time I never forget who discouraged me from doing both, from pursuing my new company as a publisher, as a writing coach. I think it was just then to be a writing coach. She had a lot of children, and at the time I think I only had 3. And I said, well, I feel called to move in this space, to help writers. She was like, well, you got to be careful that your cup just doesn't really feel too much or something, to the nature that you really can't do both. You're really going to have to only focus on your kids. You can't do both. And I said,
Yeah.
no, I respectfully disagree,
Yeah, no, thank you though, but no.
No, I respectfully, and she tried really hard. Her tone was so strong and she was so firm. And I knew right then that she wasn't my person. No, the way her approach and response and everything to something, I came to her just kind of innocently, excitedly with an idea of what I was going to do and thought that I could share that with her. But I quickly it was like an alert system went off like, nope. back off, move away. She's not the one, for you. And so that was just a moment I will never forget, because I remember so strongly feeling like, now hold on a minute. I know I can do both. I know I can be a good mother to my children. And I also believe that by me doing what I believe God called me to do, that encourages them in their own giftings and callings too. And the great thing about what I always keep this honestly right at the top of my mind. It's not that my kids just are aware of what I do. My kids watch it in action. They watch my commitment. They watch my dedication. They watch how I do this whole thing. I mean, when I tell you, from got to wake up at 5:30 in the morning to bring daughter to basketball practice, to make sure that, listen, we need to leave out of the house by this time so I can get to work on time because of class. Then, hey, I can pick you up at this time, but look, at this other time, I have meetings, later this evening. Here's what we're having for dinner. I'm going to stop home. I'm going to do groceries. I'm going to make sure we have food prepared and ready for you all. They watch all of my movement. It's just a dance. They get to watch me do this dance every single day. They know if anybody's going to tell you that I don't play about making sure my household is together and making sure my work is done. Two things. I have to get it done. They watch my flow. They could tell you.
Yeah.
They can tell you, Mama gonna make sure. Look, and then I love the fact that they're so involved and compassionate toward me, really. And they give their mother a lot of grace as well too, because I don't always get it right and I don't always have my attitude right. But look, they know. They will check in. They'll send me an email. Hey, mommy, did you make it to work on time? Hey, mommy, how did your meetings go? Hey, mommy. They check in and ask, like they know it's important to me. And I love that my kids just really have a heart to make sure that mommy is okay. They know if I'm stressed and overwhelmed. And I have older kids now that can help out. And I have my older girls can cook, so they can help in certain areas. So I certainly don't do it all on my own. But I just love that I can be an example of what hard work, dedication, commitment. They get to celebrate with me when I reach milestones, when certain things happen. They know the work I put into it, and I also encourage them the same in their own giftings. This isn't just me, but I want you to know. And look, they've seen God perform miracles after miracle after miracle after miracle this year. So they know, listen, this isn't mommy's doing. This is what God has done for us. So I get to encourage them in the faith. So I get to encourage them in my works, but also get to encourage them in the faith.
I love that. I love that. Your book closes with a powerful reminder. And the reminder was that true success isn't about what we build, but what lasts.
Yes.
When you think about your own legacy as a mom, a mentor, creative, what kind of fruit do you hope your life bears?
Oh, wow. That's such a good question. I think what I want most is for people to know that I've just been faithful. This has been a faithful steward of what the Lord has given her. That's it.
Yeah.
My story, even in motherhood, just started off so rocky with questions on if I would even be able to have children, struggling with child loss after child loss and, dealing with that. And then just the kids and just the journey and just all, it's been so up and down, so rocky. And my kids, just bless their hearts. They've seen mama go through quite a bit, quite a lot, and still try to get up every day and do. And they've seen me not be able to get up, struggle to get up. They know mama's, they've seen me cry privately or try, because somebody will come in probably when I'm having a moment. You ever see those funny reels where the mama's just trying to break down and then have to get it together quickly because, the kids are right there, or they come in and you suddenly got to get up and do for the kids. They've seen it all. They see me, but, also people in my community that have been aware of things, and people that watch me in speaking events, or maybe even my students as teacher. I think, just want my legacy to be that I've just been faithful to God, and to just doing what I've been called to do with love, with grace, unafraid of hard work. We can do hard things. That's something that I say over and over and over again. We can do hard things. It's hard, and you might cry and you might fall a little bit and you might struggle a little bit, but you can do it. You can do hard things.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that. I really do. And that's the thing. I think everyone kind of has to remember that. Like, you can do hard things. You can balance your life. You can focus on your family. You can walk with God. Like, it all can be done in spite of what everybody might want to say.
Yes.
So, as we're kind of like wrapping up and thinking about it, I have just a few more questions. So, one is, if a woman is listening right now and they're feeling exhausted and questioning whether they can keep going, what would you want her to know in this moment outside of that you can do hard things? What's the other thing that you'd want them to know?
You got this. God has given you the ability, the strength. When He created us with something so unique and beautiful and special, especially as women. There's a way that we can do the things that He has called us to do. So yeah, those things might be hard. And yes, we can do the hard things, but you can do anything, but also to just know that you are beautiful and unique and special, and to rest in confidence of all of who God made you to be and all of your personality, with that strong personality, with that soft, sweet personality, with that excited personality, and whoever and however you are, don't change yourself. The Lord knows your heart, and He knows exactly how to use who you are, for His glory, and then you'll just impact a lot of lives. And just rest in that. Just rest in your godly confidence.
Yeah. And I think that's hard because, again, it's just, you start to let the doubts pop up. You let life start to tell you who you are. And I think it's important for everyone to have resources like yourself and your book so that we can tap in, to remind us that it's going to be okay. I made it. You can make it too,
Yeah. And it's an ongoing process. A big part of this book for me too was just something we can maybe come back to. Because trust me, I'll be coming back to those days myself, over and over. And I do have to constantly remind myself, of these things when I do have those low moments or struggle with self-confidence, because I do too struggle with some of the same things that many of us do on a daily basis, and I have to get up and remind myself what the Lord says when I'm facing a challenge at those times. So we're in this together, and we can do it.
Well, I thank you for that bit of encouragement, your honesty, your faith, your permission to give us to live and purposely and just be peaceful. For those of us that want to stay connected to you, how can they continue walking this journey of grace and grit with you?
Yes, let's go. Thank you for that. So my company, Create and Blossom, our website is www.createandblossom.com. That's really the most perfect way. I have a blog on there. So I am writing through inspirational topics, and not just for those who are authors, but for entrepreneurs, for any creatives, content creators out there, anyone that's working on anything, or maybe you just want a dose of encouragement, I make sure to have my post available for anyone can read it, and I'm sure will be impacted, hopefully in a powerful way. So that'd be the best way. And then also I'm on Instagram, so at Miss Kennisha. I am on there. I'll do my updates and reels and posts and everything, and all my links are right up there on the site. So I'd love to connect with you there.
Well, don't worry, guys. I'm going to share everything in the show notes so that we can easily stay tapped in. And like I said, I want to thank you because I felt like Grace and Grit was more than a devotional. I feel like it's for women who are trying to build with heart and heaven in mind. And God knows that can be challenging sometimes. So I'm so grateful that you took the time to sit with me and share your heart and just give us such a beautiful conversation. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Ms. Pamela. Love you so much. Really appreciate you.
I love you too. So guys, that's this week's episode. I'm going to make sure, like I said, all of Kennisha's information is in the show notes, as well as information in regards to the site. And please support her book, Grit and Grace. We're all in this together. And I hope that you will enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.